Who are you?
For those of you who haven't seen the movie Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, it might not be one of the scariest movies in the world, but the concept of having the tooth fairy as actually a monster that steals your teeth and eats children's teeth, I think should be scary enough for the limited space that I have. There's not going to be a lot of moving, there's not going to be a lot of jump out and get you, but using some of the lights that I have, costumes, and some of the ideas that I've learned from some of you folks out there on the internet have given me some ideas that I think that we can do to make this scary enough. We don't have a lot of people that come by. I don't need anything that really jumps out and grabs people, but I do want to put some detailed work into some of the things. So, we'll see how this goes. So Google SketchUp lets you take a look at your haunt. You can lay it out. The program takes a little bit of getting used to, but you know, one of the things you can do is, as you draw it, you can just extend the walls to the right height. For example, this wall here should be the same height as the one to its right, not the one to the left. Because this is in my garage, this area here is where the garage door sits. So it sits right over this. There the walls can only be 7 feet. Here in the rest of my garage they can be 8 feet. And this is where the fireplace is going to be. Now we can switch over to the fireplace itself. We'll save those changes. And here's the drawing of the fireplace that I've done. Basically, I took a screenshot from the video that you saw and laid it out and drew it directly from above, and then using the tools I can pull some of them out just a little farther than the others. And for example, if I wanted the mantelpiece to be indented, or if I wanted this to be farther back, I can play around with those and or bring it out. Very interesting tool. I didn't actually bend this like I was going to, or like I did in the other part of the video that you'll see in a moment. So now once we print that out, we have a basic plan. I didn't make it exactly to the dimensions that we needed it to be within Google SketchUp because I didn't exactly know how much room I had for it. This is the location where it's going to go. This is the workbench in my garage. And this is the half of the garage that is going to become the haunt. This is going to get covered with this. Well, hopefully. The way I'm going to do that is with foam and using coroplast signs, including old election signs, and a company that I used to work for used to have big advertising in store. So, I'm going to use that as a substructure. So in order to draw this arch, we're going to use the loop and string method, hopefully. I know I want this point to be 65 inches wide. And this point to the center is going to be 25 inches tall. Then this is going to be 7 inches tall. So 65, 25, which is half of that, so we're going to say that it's 50. Now, if you've never used the loop or the string and loop method to draw an oval or an ellipse actually, there's all sorts of calculators online. Basically, you need to know the long distance, the short distance that you're going to do. So, I plug them in and I find out that The long distance of 65 and the short distance of 50 means that I have to have 2 points 41.5 inches apart and a string that's 107 inches long. So what I've done here is put the two pieces of coroplast board together, just held temporarily by tape, and kind of held it to the ground. This distance here is going to be the height of my arch, which is going to end somewhere probably about there. Then this 7 inches is going to be the outside. The inside of the arch is going to be right somewhere about here, and I'm going to measure 25 inches down from that point, which is the height that we want. And then I will place these so the outsides of the cans, of the two paint cans, are 41.5 inches apart. Now the way the loop method works is making a string in the right dimensions. You put your pencil and your marker just on the inside of that string and attempt to draw without it coming out. And it will pull it along in a nice arch. If you're steady enough, it'll work well. And we'll go straight down to the side. Okay. This is going to be the inside line. Now, I could hook up another loop of string, figure out the calculations to draw the outside. What I'm going to do is rough it. Because I know that it's going to be 7 inches, we'll just mark 7 inches at various points along the edge and draw. There, with a piece underneath to cut it and a knife, we now have ourselves an arch made out of coroplast. Now comes the point where we're going to try and fit some of this stuff together. Just created a simple leg, and for now, before I glue anything, I'm just screwing things together with screws and washers, just so I can kind of fit everything where it's going to go, because, honest folks, I'm just hacking this together. I have no idea if this is going to work or not. Now, in addition to the fireplace, the inner curve of the fireplace, I've taken the piece I cut out of the middle and just mounted those on some legs as well, and that's going to be the basis for the chimney. Down there across the front will be the mantelpiece that will be extended out just using foam and is just going to sit on the top, and then from this point down we're going to build the faux columns, or the legs as well. Then the center is going to be the fireplace. And if I remove my compressor and some of the other junk under there, I will have room to put a TV screen or computer screen behind it. Then again, I might just put some LEDs in there and possibly use the Arduino to make a couple of little eyes, and when the light from the spotlight comes on directly on them, then they can disappear and possibly I can play a screaming sound. Okay, so now taking these election signs, we're going to form the inside curve of this, which I'll end up probably duct taping initially and then gluing, and then we're gonna spray over top. So if you're looking at the signs, you notice that there's a bunch of vertical tubes. That's the cores in the coroplast. It's best to bend with them instead of against them. The strength is against them. The weakness is when they actually bend on those. So to make them curve a little easier, we're just going to bend every couple of cores a few different times, just along the edge of the workbench here. And once we do that, we're going to be able to bend them and mold them along the curve a little easier. Then that'll also give us some strength back the other way, and I'll be able to put an offset back from the wall to make sure that things aren't going to fall over. Now, this isn't going to be as permanent a structure as some of you folks are used to seeing with your Halloween props, because I don't know if I'm going to have room to store this or not. I probably will, and it's going to take a little bit of creative thinking in order to find a place to store it properly, because there's going to be a whole bunch of work going into it. So maybe I should keep it. So now that we've got 4 of these rolled and curved, we're going to just use a little bit of duct tape to hold them together and get them into position. So I'm going to take all 4 of these and just butt the edges up against each other. For starters, what I'm going to do is just drill a screw into the side so that they start off at the same place as these other ones, and then I'll end up duct taping the others in. Okay, the next step is to add a little bit of stability. This is pretty flimsy, so using our trusty friend, the glue gun, hot glue. Be careful, it's hot. We're just going to glue some more coroplast supports in a few key places around the arch. Okay, don't know if you can really tell, but we now have the complete frame built out in coroplast. Used coroplast. Yes, reduce, reuse, recycle, reanimate, rescare.